What if I told you that even the symbol of ultimate peace had limits? We often think silence is strength. We're taught to ignore insults, to stay calm, to rise above negativity. And yes, patience is powerful, but is endless silence always wisdom? Or is there a point where staying quiet stops being strength and starts becoming self-neglect? Today, we're diving into the deeper meaning behind the statement, even the Buddha won't be silent if he was insulted the third time. This isn't about anger. It's not about revenge. It's about boundaries, self-respect, and the balance between peace and principle. Let's explore what true strength really looks like. At first glance, this statement may sound contradictory. When we think of the Buddha, we think of calmness, compassion, patience, and silence in the face of negativity. We imagine someone who absorbs anger without reacting, who responds to hatred with love, and who remains unshaken no matter what is said or done. So how can we say that even the Buddha would not remain silent after being insulted repeatedly? But this statement is not about anger. It's not about revenge. It's not about losing control. It is about something deeper: boundaries, self-respect, and conscious response. Silence is powerful, but silence is not weakness. The Buddha taught compassion, but he never taught people to tolerate injustice endlessly. He taught awareness. He taught wisdom. He taught right action. And sometimes, right action is not silent endurance, it is calm confrontation. Imagine someone insults you once. You remain silent. Why? Because you understand that their words come from their own suffering. You choose peace over ego. That is strength. They insult you a second time. You still remain calm. You refuse to let their negativity disturb your inner balance. Again, that is strength. But if the insult continues a third time, repeatedly, intentionally, knowingly, silence may no longer be wisdom. Silence may begin to look like permission, and that is where the deeper lesson begins. The message behind the statement is this: patience is a virtue, but self-respect is also a virtue. The Buddha's teachings were never about being a doormat. They were about being awake. Being awake means understanding when to let go and when to speak up. It means knowing the difference between reacting emotionally and responding consciously. There is a difference between anger and assertiveness. Anger is blind. Assertiveness is aware. If someone insults you once, it may be ignorance. Twice, it may be habit. 3 times, it becomes intention. At that point, staying silent is not always enlightenment. Sometimes it is avoidance. Many people misunderstand spirituality. They think being spiritual means never speaking up, never defending yourself, always absorbing negativity quietly. But true spirituality is not about suppressing yourself. It is about acting from clarity rather than ego. If the Buddha were insulted repeatedly, he would not shout, he would not rage, he would not attack, but he would speak, calmly, firmly, and with wisdom. He would address the behavior not from hurt pride, but from truth. Because silence in the face of repeated disrespect can teach others that disrespect is acceptable, and that is not compassion. Compassion includes yourself. One of the most overlooked aspects of spiritual growth is self-compassion. We are often taught to forgive others, to understand others, to be patient with others, but we are rarely taught to protect our own dignity with the same energy. There is a powerful story often told about the Buddha. A man once came to him and insulted him repeatedly. The Buddha listened quietly. After the man finished, he asked him, "If someone offers you a gift and you do not accept it, to whom does the gift belong?" The man replied, "It belongs to the one who offered it." The Buddha smiled and said, "Then I do not accept your insults. They remain with you." That was wisdom. But imagine if that same man returned day after day, insulting, disrupting, disturbing others, creating harm. Would the Buddha continue to sit silently forever? Or would he gently but firmly set a boundary? True wisdom is not passive, it is conscious. There is a time to ignore, there is a time to forgive, and there is a time to correct. The deeper meaning behind the statement is about balance. Too much ego leads to aggression. Too much tolerance leads to self-erasure. The middle path, which the Buddha himself taught, is about harmony between strength and compassion. If someone insults you once, you can choose peace. If someone insults you twice, you can choose understanding. But if someone insults you again and again, choosing silence may slowly damage your own inner peace. When you allow repeated disrespect without response, something inside you begins to shrink. You may not show anger externally, but internally, resentment starts to grow. That hidden resentment is more dangerous than open communication. Speaking up calmly prevents hidden bitterness. And that is the real lesson. The message is not react in anger. The message is do not confuse silence with strength. Strength is not about how much you can endure. Strength is about knowing your worth and protecting it without losing your peace. In life, people will test you. Some will mistake your kindness for weakness. Some will see your patience as an opportunity to push further. If you never respond, they learn that there are no consequences. Even the most enlightened being understands cause and effect. Actions have consequences. Words have impact. And allowing harmful behavior to continue unchecked does not help the person who is behaving poorly. Sometimes correcting someone is an act of compassion. Because when you speak up calmly, you give the other person a mirror. You show them their behavior without hatred. You give them a chance to grow. Remaining silent forever may protect your ego, but it may not protect truth. There is also a psychological lesson here. Humans are emotional beings. Suppressing emotions does not make them disappear, it buries them, and buried emotions grow heavier over time. True maturity is not suppression, it is regulation. If you are insulted repeatedly and feel hurt, acknowledging that hurt does not make you weak, it makes you human. The Buddha himself acknowledged suffering. He did not deny it. He taught people how to deal with it wisely. The phrase, "even the Buddha won't be silent the third time," symbolizes the moment where patience meets principle. Patience without principle becomes submission. Principle without patience becomes aggression. Wisdom is the balance between the two. In modern life, many people struggle with boundaries. They either react too quickly, exploding at the first sign of disrespect, or they stay silent too long, allowing themselves to be mistreated. Both extremes create suffering. The first reaction is ego-driven. The second is fear-driven. But a calm, firm response after repeated disrespect is courageous-driven. And courage is spiritual. If someone insults you repeatedly, the wise response is not to attack them, but to say clearly, "I will not accept being spoken to this way." No anger, no shouting, just clarity. That is powerful. The Buddhist silence was never weakness, it was chosen, and what is chosen can also be withdrawn when necessary. Silence is a tool, not an obligation. The message behind this idea is a reminder that being enlightened does not mean tolerating abuse. Kindness does not mean allowing harm. Forgiveness does not mean removing consequences. You can forgive someone and still set a boundary. You can stay calm and still speak firmly. You can be peaceful and still protect your dignity. And perhaps that is the most meaningful lesson of all. Because in life, there will always be people who test your limits. The goal is not to become hard-hearted. The goal is not to become reactive. The goal is to become centered. So centered that when you finally speak, your words come from truth, not wounded pride. Even the Buddha, symbol of compassion, represents balance. He did not teach extreme silence. He taught right speech. Right speech includes truthfulness, usefulness, and kindness. If remaining silent allows falsehood or harm to continue, then silence is no longer right speech. Sometimes speaking up is the most compassionate act for yourself and for others. So the deeper message behind even the Buddha won't be silent if insulted the third time is not about losing patience, it's about understanding that patience must coexist with self-respect. You are allowed to be kind, you are allowed to be calm, but you are also allowed to say enough. Not with anger, not with hatred, but with clarity. And that clarity is true strength. Because real peace is not the absence of conflict, it is the presence of balance. And balance means knowing when to stay silent and when to speak. In the end, the message is simple but powerful. Being calm doesn't mean being weak. Being kind doesn't mean accepting disrespect. And being peaceful does not mean staying silent forever. Real wisdom is knowing when to let go and knowing when to say enough. So the next time someone tests your patience, remember, you can respond without rage, you can speak without hatred, and you can stand your ground without losing your peace. That is balance. That is strength. That is true enlightenment. If this message resonated with you, carry it forward, not with anger, but with clarity. Stay peaceful, stay strong, and never forget your worth.